Imagine trying to build a massive human empire right in the middle of a completely dead, barren wasteland. For thousands of years, early humans living in this region were stuck in a constant loop of basic survival, spending every ounce of energy just finding their next meal in the harsh desert. The only reason they broke out of that loop is because of one massive geographical anomaly: the Nile River. Every year, with absolute predictability, the Nile flooded its banks. When the waters receded, they left behind a thick layer of incredibly rich, dark agricultural soil. The ancient Egyptians called this fertile soil Kemet, which translates literally to the Black Land. This predictable farming created huge surpluses of food. For the first time, an entire population didn't have to spend all day hunting and gathering. They had free time. The Nile acted as a geographical cheat code, converting human survival energy into the raw power needed to build an empire. With the food supply secured, society organized itself into a strict hierarchy. At the very top sat the pharaohs, absolute rulers viewed as living gods. These rulers built their entire culture around a specific philosophical idea: death is not an ending. But getting to that afterlife came with a strict biological requirement. They believed the soul could only survive the journey if it had an intact physical body to return to. Once preserved, these god kings needed eternal fortresses to house their bodies and protect their accumulated wealth from time and grave robbers. Using nothing but simple copper tools, ropes, and immense human labor, they carved and moved millions of stone blocks to construct these sprawling complexes. By obsessively trying to defeat death, the Egyptians accidentally trained themselves to become the greatest engineers of the ancient world. You cannot manage a sprawling empire and massive construction projects by carving every single receipt and architectural plan into stone. This ancient papyrus scroll shows their solution: the world's first lightweight, portable paper, allowing them to record dense, organized data. They developed a complex administrative writing system known as hieroglyphics. But as the empire faded, this language died entirely, remaining completely unreadable for nearly 2,000 years. This dark volcanic rock, known as the Rosetta Stone, contains a single royal decree repeated in 3 different scripts. Scholars used the familiar Greek text at the bottom to identify the specific meanings of the Egyptian symbols stacked directly above them. Without the sheer luck of uncovering this specific stone, the science, history, and thoughts of Kemet would have remained permanently silent. This painted depiction shows that away from the tombs of dead pharaohs, daily Egyptian society was a vibrant reality of active trade, river navigation, and rich cultural rituals. The survival of all these citizens relied entirely on knowing the exact moment the Nile would flood their fields next. This intense agricultural pressure forced them to become pioneer astronomers, carefully tracking the movement of the stars to predict the rising waters. This diagram illustrates the result. By mapping stellar alignments to the river's cycles, they calculated a timeline that divides perfectly into a 365-day calendar. Their desperate need to farm the desert resulted in the foundational science of timekeeping that still dictates our daily lives. After thousands of years of dominance, global power dynamics shifted. Younger, aggressive foreign empires began closing in on the Nile Valley. Cleopatra emerged as the final pharaoh, fighting a brilliant but desperate political battle to keep Egypt independent. She ultimately lost. Egypt fell to the Roman Empire, marking the permanent death of an independent Kemet. Roman officials took control of the Nile and simultaneously adopted the Egyptian technologies of paper production, calendars, and mathematics to manage their own territories. The lightweight paper we write on, the 365-day calendar we follow, and the foundational mathematics of architecture all flowed out of the Nile Valley and into the rest of the world. The systems for tracking time, recording data, and building at scale that began here remain the functional standards we use today.